Pitt and Georgia Tech start conference play. The Panthers looking to get back on track after 2 tough losses to top 10 teams, while the Yellow Jackets are playing for the first time in 2 weeks. The ACC Network Game of the Week, presented by Mellow Mushroom, comes to historic Grant Field at Bobby Dodd Stadium for the 12th all-time meeting. It's the Pittsburgh Panthers and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets to open up conference play for both teams. So great to have you with us. Tom Wormy along with Dave Archer. DJ Shockley will join us from the sidelines in just a moment. Well, Dave, for good reason, we're expecting a close game this afternoon between these two teams. The last 2 times they played, it went down to a late field goal. Pittsburgh won both of those games. For Georgia Tech, though, how about their quarterback, Dave? He has burst on the scene. Taquon Marshall, a record-setting performance against Tennessee in Week 1.
Yeah, Tom, he showed up here to play quarterback for Paul Johnson and Georgia Tech, but in 2015, because of injuries and depth issues, he was forced to the A-back spot. So he had to play A-back and then transition back to quarterback a year ago as a backup, and now he's a big-time starter, and he started off on fire. Taquon Marshall against Tennessee, running the football against the option, his comfort zone. It's belly option, a block down, a pull around. He feels that timing. Now he's going to option the corner on the outside. Does he pitch it? No, he's going to keep it and run the alley. And if he gets on the alley today, he's a dynamic open field runner. Taquon Marshall today, a big-time player. When you look at Pitt, it's a little bit more muddled at the quarterback position. Max Brown, the transfer from USC, started the first 3 games, but signs are pointing towards Ben DiNucci, a much more versatile quarterback, a guy that can run it and throw it. They're looking for a spark from Ben DiNucci today. And, Shock, when you talk about versatility, you talk about Qadry Henderson.
Yeah, Qadry Henderson is one of those guys we expect to see all over the field today, in the slot, in the backfield. Expect him to see all over the place, but I expect to see him where he's most dangerous is on special teams. This All-American returned 3 for a score last year. He is #1 in the nation in return combined yards. And, oh, yeah, by the way, over 30 yards of return. Fellas, Pitt hopes that Qadry Henderson can bring some of that magic here to historic Grant Field.
And, Shock, he's going to get a chance to look at the ball right here.
4 career kick return touchdowns for Henderson, a yard deep for the Panthers, who won that toss and wanted to receive. Henderson out past the 20. And then it's a big pile up there just beyond the 20-yard line, maybe the 21. A 22-yard return, Qadry Henderson for the Pittsburgh Panthers. So, Dave, as you speculated, Ben DiNucci, the sophomore, will get the start for the Panthers over Max Brown.
Yeah, DiNucci played in 2 games a year ago, 3 for 9. Now, he's played some this year already. There's 277 yards passing, but he's a guy that brings some versatility, puts the zone read back in the package. Max Brown, an outstanding passer, big-time stand-up thrower, but they were just looking for a spark. Nothing really against Max, but looking for a spark in the offense.
And Brown was the transfer from Southern Cal. And now DiNucci gets the call. He will hand off on that first play. It's going to be Olesen. Qadry Olesen up past the 30-yard line. Step Durham had the tackle. 9 yards on the play. Time for the Food Line Impact players. We start with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Jimmy Morrissey, the freshman, around a bunch of veterans. He's done an outstanding job. A lot of big guys around him, but Morrissey will call the shots from the freshman spot. And then Rafael Araujo Lopes does an outstanding job catching the football. In fact, he's their leading receiver and listed as a backup player.
Second down. DiNucci complete. First down yardage near the 40. It's Matt Flanagan, the tight end, on the catch. He got 8, and the chains will move as Lawrence Austin made the tackle for Georgia Tech.
A bootleg play off the run they just ran. They had a nice gain of 8 yards on first down. Now Flanagan slips out in the flat on the bootleg play. Easy throw. And to get DiNucci off to a good start, Tom, excellent play calling right there.
DiNucci, the sophomore from Wexford, Pennsylvania, facing this Georgia Tech defense. Some misdirection around the right side, down the sidelines, and out of bounds.
Looked like Jordan Whitehead, who slipped in on offense. Whitehead had been suspended for the first 3 weeks of the season, but he's such a dynamic athlete. 9 carries a year ago, 98 yards for Whitehead. He also is their starting free safety. So welcome back to the game for Whitehead and for Pitt. They love seeing him back on the field.
Had to serve a 3-game suspension for violation of team policy. Took that football 30 yards in his first action back this season in a Pitt uniform. from just beyond the Georgia Tech 30. DiNucci hands off. It's Olesen. He'll get a few inside the 30 for 3 yards. The Food Line impact players. We go to the other side of the football in Georgia Tech.
Brent Mitchell, 3-year starter. He's their leading tackler in the middle. Outstanding play caller for their defense. And Corey Griffin, a hard-hitting safety, led their team a year ago with 82 tackles. But he's a guy who come up and put his hat on you.
The most recent game for the Panthers was last Saturday against Oklahoma State, a loss 59-21 at home. But Ben DiNucci saw action in that game, threw for 228 yards passing, completed 13 of 25, all career highs. DiNucci flush from that pocket, down near the goal line, and in. It's a touchdown to Qadry Henderson. 28 yards, Panthers on the board.
Boy, again, the versatility. You see Ted Roof just shaking his head, defensive coordinator for Georgia Tech. Bunch of blown coverage, obviously. Olesen running the seam off the play fake. Getting a little play fake there. And then Olsen's just going to keep running. Here's what DiNucci does. Buys some time, slides up in the pocket. Olesen pulls it in and essentially backs into the end zone. Georgia Tech broke down coverage-wise. Did not account for Olesen, the big running back down the seam.
Alex Hessman for the extra point for the Panthers. And the second TD toss of the season for Ben DiNucci gives the Panthers the 7-0 lead as he connects with Qadry Henderson. Second career TD reception for Olesen. Cottrell, the deep man, on his goal line. From the 1. Cottrell up past the 25 to the 26 or 7 on the return. Food Line impact players. And here come the Yellow Jackets, Dave.
Yeah, Ricky June averaging 26 yards a catch. He's the big play guy down the field, 6'3", 250 pounds. And Clinton Lynch, all he does is make plays. 17 yards a touch a year ago, touched it 53 times. So look for number 22 to make something happen here. A year ago, he had 4 touches, 64 yards, and a touchdown for the Jackets.
Taquon Marshall, junior from Hamilton, Georgia. Benson went again for 6 yards. It's your Food Line impact players as we continue on defense with Pittsburgh.
When you look at the linebacker core, Idowu, outstanding flow hitter, guys that leads the team in tackles with 22. And Avonte Maddox, will ask him to do a ton of stuff. He's got 7 career interceptions, but he's also going to be a guy from time to time that'll draw Ricky June in coverage.
Over 372 yards rushing per game. Marshall down the sideline, stays in bounds, dives for the end zone. Touchdown, Marshall!
Well, Tom, this is really close whether Taquon Marshall stepped out of bounds. Let's see if we can take a look here. Counter option. Watch how patient he is. Hold it, gets the blocks he needs, and now he's up the sideline. We talked about in the opening. Great speed, but I thought right around the 20, he could have potentially stepped out of bounds. Here we got a side. Here we go. Watch the patience to hold it by Marshall. Gets the key block there. Now let's see if he keeps the right foot in bounds. There was an official right behind him. Nice effort to get the ball across the goal line. But I think they're going to take a look at this. Take a look at the right foot right there. Well, I think I see some green. I see some green between his foot and the sideline. I don't think there's anything there that says you turn it over. How about the effort by a quarterback to get into the end zone?
That is his 7th rushing touchdown of the season. Sean Davis for the extra point to tie us at 7. Taquon Marshall, Dave, around the right side. Takes it in for the score. And we'll be back after a word from your local ACC station. Taquon Marshall, 32 yards, 7 TDs, rushing on the season. Here's our drive summary brought to you by Lending Tree. Dave, when banks compete, you win.
Absolutely. When you get Parker Braun out in front of the option play like that, Taquon Marshall wins. Excellent block to free the quarterback, put him in the end zone.
Henderson from the 3. Bounces it outside at the 20. And falls at the 27. 25-yard return. We're going back to NC State next week for our Mellow Mushroom ACC Game of the Week. NC State and Syracuse will go head-to-head next week here on the ACC network.
Yeah, you and I were talking before the game about NC State, and we're not, neither one of us are surprised that they're in the position they're in right now against Florida State.
Our 1st and 10 line is brought to you by your Honda dealers of the Carolinas. This year, don't settle for less than a Honda.
All right, so Georgia Tech wins on 1st down. Let's see how Pitt counteracts it here on 2nd down to get back potentially on schedule to pick up the 1st down.
Ben DiNucci at quarterback. He'll keep it, and he gets tripped up. Loss on the play for DiNucci. It's A.J. Green tripping him up, and they lose 4.
Yeah, A.J. Gray, one of those guys that can play down in the box, 220-pound safety, right up here, going to shoot in and outflank the position of the quarterback. That does a nice job, shoestring tackle. DiNucci almost eluded him, but good job by Gray to get him on the ground. Ted Roof had a chance to visit with Ted. Fun visit to always get with Ted and talk to him about Coach. He almost like he's whispering to him in his room. Doesn't want anybody to hear what you're saying, what he's saying. Kind of whispering in his office.
3rd and 12 on 3rd down for Pittsburgh. DiNucci just has to throw it into the turf. As the pressure was coming on 3rd down.
That's a pretty liberal. There was a receiver in the area. Let's take a look at how Georgia Tech played this one. Okay, so excellent job down here, but they're blocking. They're trying to set up a screen. So the screen back right up here in the middle of the pile. Nowhere to throw the football, so just throws it in the ground. That was a pretty liberal call. He obviously spiked it, but I guess the screen back was about 10 yards away.
Brian Winslow will punt it. Brad Stewart waits at his 31-yard line for this punt. Stewart backtracking, wants the fair catch and makes it right near the 20-yard line. Almost 5 seconds on the hang time and 54 yards on the punt for Pittsburgh. Tied at 7. Under 5 minutes to go in the 1st quarter. It's Benson on the run.
Hey, you better drop your pad level against this kid. He got tree trunks for legs, and his pad level is already low at 5'8", 5'9". Time he got his level a little bit lower than the defender did and dropped the hammer. The crowd enjoyed that one.
Benson got 7 yards on that carry. Jerry Howard got the call there for 4 yards.
Yeah, Howard, a freshman from Rock Hill, South Carolina, gets his opportunity to carry the rock. And when I say get ready, the pass is coming, they're starting to lure Pitt in closer to the line of scrimmage. As Georgia Tech starts to have some success, especially between the tackles, the safeties are going to begin to creep forward. And you can bet that Paul Johnson has some coaches watching that. And if Pitt gets too close to the line of scrimmage, he's going to tee up one of his big receivers. And I mean big. They're all about 6'3".
Georgia Tech is 0 for 2 on 3rd down. Marshall calls his own number up near midfield, and a 1st down for the Yellow Jackets. Taquon Marshall got 9.
Well, this is one of the pet plays on short yardage, is the follow play. The quarterback just going to follow the B-back becomes his lead blocker. It's an I formation ISO play, and it's just essentially Howard leading Marshall through the hole. Shaq, when you talk about toughness, how about this Marshall kid?
Yeah, when I talked to him earlier this week, he mentioned, yeah, I can run the football, I can throw it, but my toughness is what I really want to be good with my teammates.
Toss play to J.J. Green, DJ Shockley, and that's going to be another 1st down inside the 40 for 11 yards.
Boy, you talk about, look at the patience of Marshall now. He thinks this is going to be blocked on the edge, and when it isn't, last second kicks it outside to Green. You get the block on the perimeter by Clinton Lynch, and they're up the field. When this thing is rolling, boy, they are hard to stop.
So Green gets a breather. We come back now with Jerry Howard. He got 5.
Look at the play selection. Georgia Tech has not thrown the football, just probing that Pitt defense with different rushing plays, 16 of them.
As the Yellow Jackets operate on 2nd down, this is Benson. Going to be about a yard short of a 1st down after picking up 3. By the way, Dave, with Marshall's TD run of 32 yards in this first quarter, he now has 7 for the year, and that leads all of the football bowl subdivision as far as rushing TDs are concerned.
Well, and I thought what was cool the next week is they play Jacksonville State, who's pretty solid defensively, although an FCS school, and they shut down the run game, and all they did was throw 3 touchdowns. Look at the safety starting to creep down now, all the way down near the line of scrimmage.
Benson's got a first down.
Believe me, Coach Johnson's seeing that now, and obviously Pitt realizes the closer they get their safeties to the line of scrimmage, the corners are really going to be on an island. Shock, what do you think about Pitt's defense?
Yeah, Archie, one thing I noticed from down here is they're trying to play Georgia Tech's offense different type of ways. A lot of teams try to do that, but they're really light defensively up front. There's not a lot of pressure on their hands to fire up the ball. They're kind of like trying to read and react to everything from down below.
10th play of the drive. They swing it out to Ricky June. But a couple of Panthers converge on him. Maybe one for June. Dane Jackson out there.
That's a really nice play, too, Tom, by Dane Jackson on the outside. It's one-on-one with June. Got right in around his legs, got him on the ground.
First pass of the game for Georgia Tech will be the last play of the first quarter. The Panthers had a touchdown pass to take the lead. Georgia Tech comes back with a run from Taquon Marshall. 32 yards. We're tied at 7. Back in Atlanta, Georgia, our first quarter stats are brought to you by GlaxoSmithKline.
Tom, you look at that time of possession, and that's where Georgia Tech likes to live. Pitt comes in 11th in the country, holding the ball over 34 minutes a game. So when you get that flip-flopped on you, where Georgia Tech owns the time of possession, now all of a sudden you start getting limited opportunities offensively, and it becomes a sense of urgency on their sideline.
4 carries, 47 yards, and that touchdown run of 32 yards, the longest of his career for Taquon Marshall.
Yeah, these are two teams that live by the time of possession. Right now, Georgia Tech's having the better of it.
Marshall had it knocked away, scooped it back up, got to the 20, dances out of bounds.
There's not a lot of guys that can do this. This ball just comes out of his hand. It looks a little bit like a quarterback draw. He drops, makes it look like pass. Now he's going to keep it, and the foot of the Pitt defender hits the ball and knocks it out of his hand. Pretty good job of picking it up and getting 5.
Yeah, that was.
Well, he knew it was out the gate, right?
That was Salim Brightwell who got upended, knocked that ball away from Marshall, but he did get 5 yards.
Jacket's really good in the red zone. Touchdown ratio.
Marshall, the spin to the 5, and down close to the goal line.
16 showing off now.
Style points for 18 yards.
Boy, this is a play that Pitt really has defended pretty well. Little counter lead play. The block there, but you can see he got it flanked to the outside. He just drops the little spin move here. Shock, that's what you used to look like right there. Push that little spin button and get you up the field.
Used to look like.
He's not doing that anymore. He's not doing that anymore.
Georgia Tech takes it into the end zone. It's Marshall from a yard out, his second TD of the game.
Shock, Taquon Marshall just continues to amaze. Let's take a look at this touchdown right here. Lead play. Again, it's just a follow play. Benson leads in the hole, and Marshall leads ahead. Shock, when you talk about Taquon Marshall, I'm not sure that there's a limit to what he can do.
Yeah, you're right about that. We've seen what he can do already with the ball in his hands. And when I talked to him earlier in the week, he said maybe my best attribute is throwing the football. So maybe we'll see that later on in the game. But right now, you're right. He's putting on the show. And, guys, I do still have that still move in me, Wormy. I don't know about you, but I still got it.
Oh, that's funny. Pretty good athlete with DJ Shockley.
Taquon Marshall, 2 TD runs. The state capital here in Atlanta with Georgia Tech in front. Georgia Tech's game last week at Central Florida was canceled because of the weather. Henderson, 25. Did the ball come out at the end? Georgia Tech thinks it did.
Well, I thought he was on the ground, Tom. I thought that after he hit the ground, the ball came out. And Georgia Tech celebrating as if they've got a turnover.
The runner was down. First down, Pittsburgh.
A good job by Georgia Tech to kind of sense that number 10 was going to touch it.
First down for Pittsburgh. That was deflected and ruled incomplete. Brandon Adams deflected it as DiNucci tried to go sidearm through some traffic. Well, we want to alert our ACC Network affiliates down the line that the next commercial position will be position number 7. Again, that is position number 7.
Well, that was definitely a play they came up with, I guess, on watching tape and how Georgia Tech rushes. That was a little middle screen they tried there, and the little sidearm toss. Looked like a second baseman picking up a ground ball and flipping it over to the first base.
2nd and 10 from their own 42 for Pittsburgh. DiNucci cut off. Back up through the middle of the field. I don't know, Dave. His first initial reaction looked like it might have been a little misdirection and miscommunication between some of the guys.
I think they want to roll in left here, play fake. You see Henderson goes by, make it look like they're going to go towards Henderson, then boot right. And then really good coverage downfield by Georgia Tech. And then you see DiNucci's ability to run with the ball as well. That's why he drew the start today. His ability when things break down, what can he create for him? And what he did was he put him in a very manageable third down situation.
Our 1st and 10 line brought to you by your Honda dealer of the Carolinas. This year, don't settle for less than a Honda. 3rd and 5 for the Panthers. They are 0 for 2 in the game on 3rd down. DiNucci short of the first down to Chris Clark. Spun out of bounds. A.J. Gray defensively for the Jackets.
Good tight coverage by Gray. We've seen him make a play on the quarterback, and here he makes a play in the flat and keeps Pitt short of the first down. Gray is going to be that slot defender. Very tight, closes immediately, and this is where you got to make a play. Ted Roof said the only thing we really need to do better that I've seen is tackle. That's what he just did right there. Nice open field tackle by A.J. Gray.
So the Panthers forced to punt it as Winslow, punting to Stewart, standing at his own 8-yard line. Wants the fair catch. This one sails into the end zone. 52-yard punt. We'll step aside for just a moment. 10:45 to go in our second quarter. Well, those are the original seats from Bobby Dodd Stadium, which was constructed in 1913. It's the oldest on-campus stadium in the Football Bowl subdivision. They are still underneath the existing seats here at Bobby Dodd Stadium, named for the legendary head coach in 1988. And the Yellow Jackets hold a 14-7 lead in possession of the football here in the second quarter. Marshall over the middle of the field. Too far. Looking for Searcy. Incomplete. Our 1st and 10 line brought to you by your Honda dealer of the Carolinas. This year, don't settle for less than a Honda. 2nd down, Georgia Tech. J.J. Green. Green's got a first down out near the 35-yard line. Jordan Whitehead forced him out of bounds. 17 yards for Green.
Well, as long as Marshall keeps making these kind of decisions, Pitt's going to have a tough time stopping. Great block again on the outside by Clinton Lynch. And Green doesn't get hit till he's 10 yards up the field. But Taquon Marshall really doing a good job of reading and reacting. You give it to the B-back, you keep it, you pitch it. He's on point right now.
1st and 10, Georgia Tech. Benson crosses the 40 to the 41. He got 4. Elijah Zeiss making the tackle for the Pittsburgh Panthers.
When you saw him take the shot on first down, Tom just missed Quay Searcy down the middle on the post route. So that gets Pitt thinking they start crowding the line of scrimmage. Now you got to kind of back off a little bit because really Marshall missed the throw. If he hits Searcy, he's got a chance to score.
Benson is driven backwards.
Well, that's a nice play. Amir Watts upside and that interior. Just a fullback through the middle. Good job up front that time, DJ, by Pitt.
Yeah, nice job by Pitt. And during the pass break, defensive line coach for Pitt, Charlie Parsons, was stressing to his D-line, we have to get off blocks because they're getting to the second level too fast. As soon as that happened, cornerback Avante Magus came over and said, hey, we got this.
Let's see if Marshall has this on 3rd and 6. Cannot elude the Pittsburgh defenders. Elijah Zeiss, no gain for Georgia Tech, and it's 4th down for the Yellow Jackets.
You know, DJ Shockley told us that they were playing kind of catch in the front, and this time they're more aggressive, Shock.
Yeah, they are. That's what he stressed to them, especially when they got to use their hands a lot better and get off the football. Last few series, they were trying to catch him like you just mentioned, Arch. But this past series, more physical, more determined, a little bit more aggression, and got this good Tech offense off the field.
Nice job by Pitt's D to get a stop there and get the ball back to their offense.
Presley Harvin, the freshman, to punt for Georgia Tech. This is Henderson near the sideline of the 20. Wants to attempt that return. Doubles back. Left side for Henderson. Has some blockers near midfield. Henderson inside the 30. Gets away. Down the sideline. Diving for the end zone. Qadry Henderson. 80 yards. A punt return TD.
Well, Henderson said, forget the short field opportunity. I'm going to put it in the end zone myself. This is an incredible play by Pitt's return unit, because Henderson had a long way to go to get to the wall. But you see just how dynamic this kid is. He's got great speed, good vision. He's an excellent runner. That's his 8th return of a kick for a touchdown in his career. The great speed to get to the edge, but this is how far he went, Tom, to get to the wall. Taking a look to see if Henderson stepped out of bounds. He's a guy that can change the game in a heartbeat. Was an All-American a year ago, and he showed why.
Dave, he caught that ball at his own 20, eluded a couple of tacklers, then used the entire field up that left-hand side and down the sideline 80 yards. Now Kessman for the extra point and a tie ball game. The All-American return man for the Pittsburgh Panthers. They celebrate in the end zone. An 80-yard return for Henderson. And we'll be back after a word from your local ACC station. We said we expected a close ball game. That's exactly what we've gotten.
Well, good hard penetration right there by Pitt defensively. Kind of blew the play up right at the point.
Patrick Jones, number 91. Immediately following today's game, our studio crew, Katie, Tommy, and Stan, live on the ACC.com, bringing you our new postgame show, Victory Formation. Tune in on the ACC.com as soon as the game is over. In-depth analysis of this game and other ACC games from our studio crew. Victory Formation. Marshall's pass. It is caught up near the 34-yard line. Clinton Lynch in some traffic, 10 yards, and a first down, Georgia Tech.
I'm not sure how Taquon Marshall saw this one. Initially thinks about taking off, and then he finds Lynch coming across the middle of the field in traffic. And I'm just amazed at number 22 for Georgia Tech, how many plays he's made in his career. Last year, 17 yards a touch.
Benson up to the 45-yard line. Jordan Whitehead making the tackle, 11 yards, and that's another first down for Georgia Tech.
So Tech team now that kind of changing their approach a little bit. Pitt penetrating, get the pass play down the field.
With 2:22 to go, Marshall wants to throw it. Searcy, incomplete. There is a penalty marker as well, Dave.
Tom, what a catch. See if Searcy, he juggles it first, and then he reestablishes the catch. Juggle, catch, but the left foot's out of bounds.
There is no foul for defensive pass interference. Second down.
DeMar Hamlin was back there defending against Searcy.
Excellent throw along the sidelines by Marshall. And if seriously squeezed it the first time, it would have been a catch. Shot.
Oh, you talked about that catch. I was standing right here when it happened. And the fact he got his head around as soon as the ball was there and just got his hands up to be able to catch that football was even more spectacular.
Benson's got a first down. 13 yards to carry from Qadry Benson.
Yeah, and it's crazy because this is a team that really has confidence. Even though they throw the ball on first down, they come back and they just run it. What in most people's minds is just a simple dive play, but it's one of their bread and butter, and they pick up the first down.
Benson bounces off a couple of Panthers, gets right near the 20. James Folston Jr. made the tackle. He got 7 on the run.
Well, it's been the key position for this offense for a long time. Remember Jonathan Dwyer and Anthony Allen. You go back to Lasky and Days. And now here's Benson running the football.
Dave, 15 carries, 88 yards. Lowers his head into the line. That's Marshall.
You know, you get the flashy stuff on the outside, Tom, with the, you know, the bells and whistles and the quick guys, and then you got the sledgehammer, and they pound you with the sledgehammer over and over and over again. That D-back coming straight ahead.
Another first down for Georgia Tech. 1:07 to go. They have 3 timeouts to work with. Benson.
Paul didn't like what Taquon Marshall did there with the change of play.
This will be the 12th play of the drive on 2nd and 6 for Georgia Tech. Just over a minute to play in this half. Marshall looking for a seam. Tries to get around that corner and goes out of bounds near the 5-yard line. Zeiss and Folston Jr. force him out. He got 7 on that play, improvising from his backfield.
Really nice play by Jordan Whitehead, though, to really kind of snuff it out. He almost got Marshall on the ground, but we talked about how great an athlete he is. Stayed on his feet and pushed it inside the 5, right at the 5.
Yeah, he got a first down as well. 1st and goal, 55 seconds to go on the clock in the 2nd quarter. Georgia Tech and Pittsburgh tied at 14. Benson close to the goal line and in. The rushing touchdown, Qadry Benson, and Georgia Tech has taken the lead. He goes in from 5 yards out.
Well, Benson going to come right at you, and pretty much what Pitt got the entire drive was Benson coming straight ahead. Good slip block there on the left side. That's where you come off as a double team on that front level defender, and then you slide off to that 2nd level, and all Benson does is get in behind that block and fall into the end zone.
So 2nd TD run of the season for Benson. Here's Sean Davis. 21-14. Georgia Tech takes the lead with 51 seconds to go in the 2nd quarter. It's going to be a short kick. French pulled down at the 25. Just a 2-yard return. TD Roof on special teams.
There you go, Ted. I like it. Ted Roof, defensive coordinator's son, makes the play. Big play on special teams right there. When you talk about, you know, coaching your kid, now this is special teams, but he said it's tough because he's a good player, so he tends to, and it's like any dad's going to get on his kid a little bit more than everybody else to just to kind of, you know, validate the whole situation. Didn't want to put his boy in a bad spot, but TD is a good player. Had 2 sacks in their last game. They think he could blossom into something special for him.
And that was a win 2 weeks ago against Jacksonville State. Ted Roof also has another son, Mick, who is playing quarterback at Charlotte.
How do you get, you're a linebacker. How do you have a kid that plays QB? How'd that happen?
Ted Roof, a former linebacker here at Georgia Tech, returning to his alma mater, spent time as the head coach at Duke. DiNucci got away from the pressure, throw on the run up near midfield. And caught.
Yeah, can't let him out of the pocket if you're Georgia Tech. And again, DiNucci's ability to move. I think this is something Pitt's really excited about. Going to kill the clock here.
They got 17 yards on the play prior to the spike. Stopped the clock with 14 seconds left.
It's a good job. He's going to buy time. It's a four-man pass rush. Runs out of the sack right there. Shows the strength to move around, and then good vision up the field. Throwing the ball on the move. Good job to find a hole and get open.
Yeah.
Yeah, still have a timeout in your pocket. Now, if someone's tackled in bounds short of the first down, you're going to burn the timeout right away to give yourself another snap. If he's tackled beyond the first down, go up and kill the clock.
From the 48 of Georgia Tech, DiNucci surveys the landscape, just has to flick it forward.
Out of the pocket, though, that's okay. Oh,
now the flag comes out. Ball also has to travel past the line of scrimmage,
which it did.
Yep.
I'm not sure about this. I think he's out of the pocket here. You got to pick this up.
There is no foul for intentional grounding. Third down.
Very good job by the officials.
Outside the tackle box. Got the ball beyond the line of scrimmage. Third down.
Yeah, very good job by Heiser and the officials to get together and make that decision. That's good teamwork by the officiating crew. And a good job by DiNucci to get out of the pocket to save the field position. So now at 8 seconds, you're not really going to get in field goal range. So do you have two shots here? You do have a timeout, though. Go over the middle, burn the timeout.
DiNucci to French. He steps inside the 40 and goes out of bounds.
Yeah, see, I don't like that. That didn't put you in field goal range. You needed a shot down the field. Now they're going to take a shot, and I say we're out of field goal range unless Chris Blewett runs on the field. Blewett hit a 56-yarder here 2 years ago to win it. And they're going to take the shot. They're going to put it down pretty close to that spot.
That was a school record, that 56-yarder, Dave, and Blewett made 55 career field goals to set a school record. All right, this is a 55-yard attempt. Alex Kessman. He's already missed his first field goal attempt. 55 yards away, and it's good.
I stand corrected. What a kick by Kessman.
55 yards the gun for the first half to make it 21-17. So the Panthers able to ring out 3 points on that late field goal as we go down to DJ.
Coach, I know you were not happy about the fumble in the second quarter, but how did it feel to get the 2-for-1 right here at the half and get the touchdown? Are you excited about that?
Yeah, well, we're fortunate to be ahead with a punt return for a touchdown and 2 turnovers to none. So we've got to regroup. It's disappointing to give up the field goal there at the end, but we get the ball first, take it and see if we can score and get up 2 scores.
All right, Coach, thank you. Have a good one. All right, Katie, looks like we're up 21-17. Big game here in the first half. Lots of competitive going on. Should be an interesting one. If offensively they can get something going here for Pitt in the second half.
The Panthers and the Ramblin' Wreck with an entertaining first half of college football, back and forth, and some big plays also here on the ACC Network. Our game of the week presented by Mellow Mushroom. Tom and Dave with you here at halftime, and we were just talking about how exciting this game has been. An 80-yard punt return touchdown, some long TD tosses, some long runs, and Dave, it's been fun so far.
It really has. A lot of entertaining things have happened. You heard Pat Narducci right there talking to DJ Shockley in the fact that, hey, we've got to get some 3-and-outs as well. But those are the things that are killing. They have 2 turnovers. Both have resulted in 3-and-outs for their own offense. Got to find a way to capitalize on those opportunities.
Yeah, they're trailing in total yards and time of possession for Pittsburgh. But what about this call by Pat Narduzzi? At the end of the half, Alex Kessman, the redshirt freshman, Dave, from 55 yards away.
Keep this in mind now. Georgia Tech lost 2 years ago on a 56-yarder. The redshirt freshman might have that opportunity at the end of this one.
It's come down to a field goal the last 2 years. All right, Dave, it's now time for our halftime stats. They're brought to you by Dish.
Yeah, Georgia Tech has pretty much doubled up on Pitt, but Pitt looks at the scoreboard and says, wait a minute, we're only down 4 points, and give Qadry Henderson a big plus for keeping it in protection. But, Tom, it's good.
All right, let's go down to the sidelines and DJ Shockley.
Coach, you did a good job on that first drive offensively. Then you got something going here at the end with a big field goal. but in the middle, you're kind of stymied a little bit. What do you got to do to get your offense going offensively?
You know, we got to make some plays. I mean, we had some opportunities to make some. We can't go 3-0 in the second half. They've had 20 minutes of time possession. We've had 10. That offense will wear you out if you're on the field all day. So we got to win the time possession in the second half, and we got to make plays on offense.
They found some success on the edge in that first half, especially with Taquon Marshall. What do you have to do to kind of stop them on the edge and get them off the field?
Well, you stop them on the edge. We had people in position to make plays, and that's the important thing. But we also got to stop that dive. I'm more worried about the dive than I am that outside run.
All right, Coach, have a good second half. Guys, it should be a good one. We got a tough one. Looking forward to it. It may come down to the end like the last 2 games, fellas.
Well, and I think Coach Narduzzi said it right there, the fact that we got to take care of the fullback first, and then we can rally to the perimeter. I think he loves the fact that his team probably didn't play as well as they would have liked, and they're only down 4 points. So got to play defense right here. Georgia Tech goes on a long drive.
Qadry will stay in the end zone, and Georgia Tech will have it to start the second half.
Taquon Marshall has been everything today for Georgia Tech. He's given the ball off. Benson, of course, running the ball has been very good as well. Decision-making, really, to me, for Taquon Marshall has been the stuff that's been amazing. Hand it, pitch it, or keep it. And this is his touchdown run with a key block for Parker Braun out in front. But it's really been a nice job of their ability to mix it. When you talk balance, you're not talking about pass and run with Georgia Tech. You're talking out inside the tackle box and outside. How about that? That's as balanced as it gets at attacking Pitt.
First down for the Yellow Jackets is Qadry Benson. What a first half that young man had. 17 carries, 97 yards, and a touchdown run. And he took that one for 4 yards to open up the second half for Georgia Tech.
Well, it all begins with that play, and Pitt really has not handled that play very well as Benson closes in on 100 yards for the game.
That TD run for Benson in the first half, his second of the season. Came into the game with a total of 150 yards. He's approaching 100, as Dave mentioned, although on that play, cut down after a minimal gain by Keyshawn Camp. 4 of 9 on third down for Georgia Tech, and that stat will improve thanks to Qadry Benson.
Yeah, see, that's the one where Coach Narduzzi's talking. We have to stop their B-back or fullback. And this is where the physical game begins to wear on you, is when you fight and claw to get it to third down, and then they run the back right through the middle for 3 yards and a first down, or 4 yards and a first down. That begins to wear you down. What Pitt has done a good job of, though, is they've rotated personnel up front. Hopefully that'll, for them and their fans, it'll pay dividends for them.
First and 10, Georgia Tech. Marshall ran into his own man and then tackled at the 42-yard line. Wow. Idowu and Brightwell.
Yeah, if Benson doesn't run into Marshall, he might score on this play. This is originally a pass play, but Marshall's going to pull the ball down. And if he doesn't, watch him, he's going to run into number 30, who's trying to block right there, because there was nobody to Marshall's left. It was all clear sideline, and even though it would clear his B-back, he was probably gone.
Second down and 8. Benson looks like he's got the first down. Just powers his way down to the 31-yard line against Brightwell.
Well, watch this Georgia Tech offensive line come off the ball now, because that's what it takes. You got to play well up front. Get the double team on the nose or the tackle to the inside, and Benson flows right off of that and pushes for the first down. Sophomore from Marietta High School, just up the road, about 25 minutes.
Let's check in with DJ on the sidelines.
Art, you just talked about them rotating guys, especially the linebacker and D-line. They've lost Chase Pine, number 36, one of their linebackers. He had ice on his foot during halftime, and he's not expected to return.
DJ, thank you. This is a run inside the 20. Quade Weimerskirch, 11 yards, and the sticks are rolling for Weimerskirch.
Weimerskirch is a sophomore. Remember, the guy they've been rotating in behind Benson had been Jerry Howard. You lay the ball on the ground, you don't get a play. Weimerskirch steps in the game. Look at him cover up that football. And a nice little interior play. A little counter dive play right there, right through the middle for a first down.
His 6th carry of the season. They spotted at the 20. First and 10. He got it again, much less this time around. Only one.
Just special teams last year for Weimerskirch, Tom. So he's excited about a chance to get to carry the ball.
Zeiss on the tackle for Pittsburgh. Another trip into the red zone for Georgia Tech.
Now see here, normally for offensive coordinators, you might see them dial up some from a pass game standpoint, but for Georgia Tech, it's still a rundown on 2nd and 10.
Georgia Tech 2 for 2 in the red zone with a couple of touchdowns this afternoon. 21-17 their lead. Weimer-Skirch, eyes for the goal line, and he's in. Touchdown, Quade Weimer-Skirch, 19 yards.
Well, Weimer-Skirch had come into the game with just 5 carries. He had 1 carry last year for 0 yards. How excited is this kid who played special teams a year ago to pound one in? Pace, Florida, 220-pounder went right through the middle of the Pitt defense.
His first TD run of the season.
Redshirt sophomore gets his opportunity, and you can hear the train whistle blowing here in Atlanta. The wreck is rolling.
Georgia Tech has the lead. The first career touchdown for Quade Weimer-Skirch. They're checking on Benson on the sidelines as Henderson returns the kickoff short of the 25-yard line, a 20-yard return.
Henderson returns the tackle made by Trey Jackson.
Danucci near side. French. They're going to mark him out right near the 35-yard line. Victor Alexander forced him out. 12 yards on the connection and a first down Pittsburgh.
Yeah, good decision that time by Danucci to sort it out. Had a check down throw to his sideline. Got it out and a good first down play.
From their own 35-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Panthers as we go inside of 6 minutes. Tackle made on Henderson and a loss of 1. Lance Austin coming up to make the play for Georgia Tech.
Now we just got to make the decision, the outside receiver, which one do I block? And see, he chose the wrong one. You got to choose the most dangerous man, and at that point Austin was the closest to the throw. So Jester Weah, the outside receiver, made a poor decision on which player to block, and the result was a loss of yardage.
So 2nd and 11. Somehow Danucci got away. Gets tackled from behind. Step Durham in pursuit. Short of the 35. That was Henry St. Amour who came off the edge very quickly to flush the quarterback Danucci.
Well, St. Amour is going to come from the bottom of the from the side, left side of your screen there, and an excellent job of Danucci to make him miss. Now Step Durham, 8, is coming on a corner blitz, so he comes all the way from the far side of the field to finish the play and get Danucci on the ground. But nice play by Danucci to make the initial rusher miss.
Danucci, he's got the time, stable pocket, out to the right to Flanagan, but he's got to be well short of the first down. Maybe to the 40 for Flanagan. 4th down for the Panthers after a 5-yard gain.
You got to find something if you're Coach Watson to bust the zone. Georgia Tech has played zone every time in 3rd and long, and you've got 2 players going to the sideline, nothing to affect the middle of the defense. Something layered, deep, intermediate, and underneath where you have somebody who can run for a first down. You see Ted Roof there, very pleased with the way his defense has come out here in the 2nd half.
Brad Stewart awaits this punt from Winslow. Wants the fair catch. Takes a couple of steps back and makes it at about the 14-yard line, 45-yard punt. Let's check in with DJ.
Guys, we talked about a number of guys going down. I've seen a few guys come off to the sideline, stretching, needing extra hydration. It is getting really hot down here right now. It's going to be something to look at, especially getting into the 4th quarter with weather, temperature, and these guys being able to handle it.
All right, Shock, make sure you keep hydrated down there, man.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
He's hanging around at the Gatorade coolers the last time we saw him down there, Dave.
That's a good spot to be.
86 degrees here in Atlanta. Much warmer on the field, the Shock just told us. Benson driven backwards. Maybe 2. The AP Top 25 is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. 5 teams from the Atlantic Coast Conference in the top 25.
Yeah, and Florida State in a battle right now with NC State. NC State knocking on the door to become part of the top 25 as well. But good representation. How about next weekend, Virginia Tech, Clemson? Be a good one.
Don't forget also Duke and Wake Forest, both undefeated at 3-0. By the way, NC State leads 2013 against Florida State. Ricky June on the catch. He goes up the sidelines near midfield.
Well, Tom, this was the matchup I was waiting to see. Ricky June and Maddox are both our Food Lion impact players. Watch this route. Pushes it vertical, gets Maddox to backpedal out of it, then turn his hips, and a well-thrown ball by Marshall. And then you see the run at the catch for the 6'3", 215-pounder. Got great acceleration. Loved the way he turned Maddox's hips there and then came back, broke it down, came back on the comeback. And boy, he got a fastball from Marshall.
28 yards on that play, the 3rd catch of the game for Ricky June, the senior from Spring Valley, New York. Back to Benson. And we go back down to DJ.
Guys, you talk about Avonte Maddox over there and being able to match up. He said when I talked to him earlier this week, the hardest thing to talk about this offense is knowing when they're going to run a route, when they're going to block, and they come out the same way. So it's hard to kind of distinguish when they're going to run a route and when they're going to catch the football. And you can see there was some nice leverage there for June to catch that football.
On 2nd down now for Georgia Tech. Did that ball come out? It appeared that Pittsburgh covered right away, and they did. Pittsburgh has taken over possession on its own 48-yard line. It'll be the 3rd turnover of the game for Georgia Tech.
Well, Weimerskirch was in at fullback this time, or V-back, and he hasn't played a ton. So that's a field play as to whether you're going to take it from the quarterback because it's a read. And the ball just got stripped out of the hands. It looked like Marshall wanted to pull that one, and Weimerskirch made a grab hold of it. And the ball came out. Good job by Pitt. Again, here Pitt is. They've had 3 fumble recovers. All have been around midfield. The first 2, they've gone 3 and out on offense. This is a big opportunity for Pitt to get right back in this game.
Jalen Williams covered the football for the Panthers. Officially spotted now at the 47 of Pittsburgh. Olesen dropped for a loss. That's a loss of 5 on that play as we take a look at our Haviland defensive shield.
Yeah, I tell you, as I just mentioned, they've taken the ball away 3 times. The first 2, they did nothing with it. In fact, went 3 and out, and Georgia Tech trying to make that happen again. St. Amour with a big play against Olesen forces it all the way back to a 2nd and 15 here, Tom.
See what Sean Watson, the offensive coordinator for Pittsburgh, has. He and Pat Narduzzi coached together at Miami of Ohio in the 90s, early 90s. That pass up near the 45-yard line. 5 yards on the play, so they got back what they lost, but these seconds are ticking off the clock here in the 3rd. Well, it is 3rd down.
And I do like that throw, though. That's Henderson over the middle. Georgia Tech's playing zone coverage in 3rd and the 2nd and long, so get it to your playmakers.
So that'll be the end of the 3rd. Georgia Tech has the lead over Pittsburgh 28-17. The 4th quarter is straight ahead on the ACC network.
Tom, I think this is a neat opportunity potentially for Pitt. If they can pick up 5 to 7 yards, I think Coach Narduzzi considers going for it, knowing he's getting limited snaps.
Just 1 of 7 on 3rd down in the game for Pittsburgh. DiNucci sacked. Antonio Simmons.
Just 2 career sacks for Antonio Simmons, but he comes up with a big one in a key moment. 3rd and long. Simmons way out here in a wide 9 technique. Just going to come straight downhill. Don't really get a hand on him at all on the outside, and DiNucci has no chance. Excellent speed from the senior from Jacksonville, Florida, off the edge.
The Panthers lost 15 yards on that play. Winslow to punt. Stewart waits at the 25. He's got to backtrack all the way to the 10. To the 20. Stop there. That's a punt of 58 yards and a return of 11 from Stewart. Our third quarter stats are brought to you by the North Carolina Education Lottery, celebrating 11 years and over $5 billion raised for education. To learn more, visit nclottery.com.
Well, you've doubled up. Pitt just has not had the ball long enough, and that's on them some. And not to be able to cash in the Georgia Tech turnovers has been huge. 3 turnovers near midfield, and Pitt has nothing to say for it.
Jackets from their own 21. They've got the 28-17 lead. Pittsburgh has won 4 of the last 6 meetings between the teams. That includes the last 2 on late field goals. Taquon Marshall on the carry for 5 yards. Kings played in early October last year, Dave. Chris Blewett, the 31-yard field goal as time expired to give Pittsburgh the win.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Georgia Tech's excited about Blewett not being on the sideline over there. But hey, guess what? The next guy in line, we saw Kessman in the first half with a 55-yarder. So I'm pretty sure Georgia Tech would like this not to come down to a field goal and Pitt have the football. Last
win in the series for Paul Johnson and Georgia Tech. 2014, they won at Pittsburgh, 56-28. Benson running with people hanging all over him. Adds to his career total, Dave.
Yeah, and here's the Georgia Tech. This is something they lull you to sleep. You know, they run the ball. It's kind of a slow pace. Okay, we're going to huddle. We're going to call the play. We're going to. There's Coach Johnson sending in the play. Okay, you look up at the clock and there's, you know, it's down. Play clock's down to 20. Now you get the call. They kind of sit in the huddle. You're on defense then, and come on, let's go. And because you play with so many of these up-tempo teams, and the clock's winding down. Now you're down to 10, and they kind of wander up. They walk up, and then they snap it.
Play clock almost ran out. That was really close. So this is J.J. Green.
And a good job by Pitt to defend what I think they have not allowed that play to work. That's a really bread and butter play, the wide toss play. Excellent job by Pitt to keep him short. Take a look at the play. Really good job by Pitt to keep leverage to the outside, turn the ball back in where their backers and safeties are coming downhill to make the stop. And reluctantly, Paul Johnson got to burn a timeout. Excellent job by Pitt's defense to get a 3-and-out. They needed it desperately. And now you give this guy a chance.
They have struggled defensively as far as the conference rankings are concerned. Harvin the punt. Henderson signals for the fair catch at the 24. 46-yard punt from Presley Harvin. Well, spotted officially at the 25. We'll step aside. Pat Narduzzi's offense is on the field, trailing 28-17. That is the newly refurbished entryway to the Georgia Tech football offices, displaying some of those trophies. You saw the Orange Bowl trophy from 2014. They lead 28-17. Pittsburgh has the football at its own 25. Our 1st and 10 line presented by Cookout, serving fresh charred-grilled hamburgers and 40 fancy milkshakes. Olesen was able to make something positive out of that. That's a rare occasion, Dave, for Pittsburgh. We'll get back to that in a moment as we go down to DJ.
Hey, Art, so let me ask you, the reason they wanted Anunoby to start was because of his mobility. One thing I haven't seen today is a lot of bootlegs or naked, getting him on the edge, forcing the issue with his run game. Wonder why they haven't done that. Has it surprised you at all?
Yeah, it does. And I think that the only time he has made anything happen has really kind of been on his own shock. It's a great point. But they're going to need to get to a point where they can have some success on first down. Olesen's given them that, and now they've got a 3rd and short.
5 yards for Whitehead. He's got the longest run of the game for Pittsburgh. It was 30 yards, but it was back in the first half. In fact, prior to those last 2 runs, those 30 yards represented all of the rushing yardage for Pittsburgh in the game.
Yeah, they have really struggled to get anything going against Georgia Tech running the ball. Some of it has been they haven't had the ball, but here they are 3rd and short, so this will be an opportunity for them to convert here on 3rd down to stay on the field.
They have struggled, just 1 of 8 on 3rd down. 3rd and 1, 10:45, and moving on the clock here at Bobby Dodd Stadium. That ball is on the grass. Scooped up by Georgia Tech on Reese St. Amour.
You got too cute. You didn't need to do that. It's 3rd and 1. You're struggling to get a first down. You don't need a big play there. You need to stay on the field. You haven't been able to stay on the field on offense. And they go with the jet sweep and a handoff, which is kind of dangerous anyway. This has got to be timed up perfectly. And Georgia Tech was going to make a play on it. I mean, you're not guaranteed getting a first down going straight ahead. But as much as you struggled on offense to extend drives, I'd never like to criticize play calling, but I just really like to think you get a first down right there to try to stay on the field and not get too cute there.
First turnover of the game for Pittsburgh at a critical juncture. Benson breaks away. Second level, down the sideline. Benson into the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia Tech.
Well, what a job. And the sledgehammer gets his long run. This is a matter of just kind of wearing down Pitt defensively. I hope there's a lot of tired football players. Watch Searcy get up there. The last threat for Pitt is cut off by Quay Searcy. Just a hustle play by the A-back. But Benson has been a tremendous player today. And now up over what, Freddie, 180 yards. Our statistician elite, Freddie Kiger, with us. 196 yards for Benson. What a day for the young man.
Second rushing touchdown of the game for Benson. This one from 47 yards. Henderson sidesteps a man at the 20, dragged down at the 29. That's a 26-yard return by Henderson.
Our Chevy performance of the game brought to you by our local Chevy dealers. Cavrante Benson, almost 200 yards rushing. Kind of hard to decide. I mean, Benson's been the kind of the workhorse, the sledgehammer. You could have picked Taquon Marshall. He's been the decision maker, distributing the ball, and he's had a over 100-yard performance as well. But Benson's our choice, Chevy player of the game. So congratulations to him. And boy, he has been. Now he will get corrected on that fumble a little bit ago, but he's been good.
Certainly made up for it, Dave, with that 47-yard touchdown run. It's a 4-yard play. Arujo Lopes. Max Brown has come in to replace Ben DiNucci, who was the starter today. So, Dave, I think for the Panthers, maybe the questions still linger at that position, despite the outcome of today's football game against Georgia Tech, as that is complete on the sideline.
Well, like DJ said, for some reason there was a reluctance to move DiNucci around, to get him out of the pressure. And then I thought there was a little bit of reluctance to throw the ball over the middle against Georgia Tech. I thought they're playing a ton of zone. I think you could have manipulated the zone with a guy behind, a guy in the intermediate underneath. Decided not to do that. The worst thing for them was they just couldn't stay on the field on third down. And Georgia Tech ate clock like nobody's business.
Brown.
There's an over a middle throw. There you go.
Aaron Matthews on the business end of the toss from Brown. First down, Pittsburgh, 19 yards.
It's just that they're playing zone most of the game. And it's been kind of frustrating sitting up here as a quarterback. I don't want to throw outside the numbers all the time. DJ, I mean, been a little puzzled as to where they've thrown the ball today.
Yeah, they have. It's weird that they haven't pushed the ball down the field, and you can see they finally throw one down the field there, but throughout the entire game, you've seen everything go toward the sideline, and it's been intermediate either. And you saw the last drive, they were sitting all over that comeback route. I don't think they fear Pitt's receivers at all today.
Well, I think it's a great call. I think that at some point today, they said, you know what, we're just going to line up and play your guys, and we're going to crowd against the run. They're taking the run game away. It's been long yardage situations for both quarterbacks in second and third down. And what happens when you throw the ball over the middle, now they can't use the sideline as an extra defender. Get Henderson or Arujo Lopes the football.
Brown over the middle, also incomplete. As a fellow quarterback, guys, I have to agree with your assessment.
If they're going to play that deep zone the way Georgia Tech's playing, it's either falling off and rushing four, Arujo Lopes and Henderson coming underneath on those shallow drags. You get the ball to those guys on the move. And then Weah in the back end, the big receiver coming in the intermediate on the dig. You just saw him catch one, or you saw them catch one. Just a little puzzled. But you line up and you go again next week for Pitt.
Third down struggles for the Panthers. 1 of 10 in this situation. Brown tried to run out of that pocket, could not escape the grasp of Antonio Simmons. Second sack of the game.
Well, see, there's where DiNucci, who had done some good things in the game, I thought, moving around. That's where he creates problems for you defensively. Max Brown just not going to do that. Max is the big stand-up thrower like we've seen here the last couple throws.
That was the 3rd sack in total for Georgia Tech. 2nd for Antonio Simmons. Both here in the 4th quarter. And Pittsburgh lost 4 on that play. They're going to go forward on 4th down. Not a whole lot to lose with under 3.5 minutes remaining in this contest. Panthers were working on a 2-game winning streak in the series. Safety valve. Chris Clark spun at the 30. He's not going to have enough for that 1st down. Shy of the 25. He got 9 yards on a very determined run by Chris Clark, the sophomore from Ridgewood, New Jersey, and a transfer from UCLA.
That's kind of the position the quarterbacks have been in for Pitt most of the day, is 2nd and 3rd and long, and Tech playing off. You're going to push the ball into coverage. If you throw it down the field, probably be picked off. So you've been forced to throw the ball underneath, hoping somebody can run for a first down. It hasn't happened.
We'll step aside. 3:10 to go in our game, and we'll be back after a word from your local ACC station. Late in the 4th quarter, Georgia Tech 35, Pittsburgh 17. Our 1st and 10 line presented by Cookout, serving fresh char-grilled hamburgers and 40 fancy milkshakes. So Marshall out of the game. And Jay Jones is in there for Georgia Tech.
Now, this kid's got great speed. We talk about Taquon Marshall speed. This guy has probably got another gear. Just doesn't have the experience. Jay Jones, kid can really run. Threw the ball for almost 1,800 yards and 21 touchdowns. Ran for almost 1,000 yards in high school. McAllen, Alabama.
Virginia Tech is trying to move to 4-0. They're playing Old Dominion today. Have an early 3-0 lead. Quarterback escapes the pocket. Up near that 1st down marker. Jones took a pop at the end of the play. There is a Pittsburgh player shaken up. Looks like Jalen Williams, number 41.
And I think Paul Johnson's going to have to put in. So no targeting. That's a good thing for Pitt. Matthew Jordan comes in at quarterback. I thought that Jay Jones looked a little woozy after the run as well. So both players got a little woozy after that hit.
3rd and short for Georgia Tech. Its leading rusher today, Crevante Benson, 29 carries, 196 yards, a career high, and 2 rushing touchdowns for Benson. Did have that 1 fumble deep in Pittsburgh territory, redeemed himself with a 47-yard TD run right after that one. Jordan hustling around the corner, not afraid of some contact at the 35 with Idowu. Junior from Fairford, Alabama, Matthew Jordan, the 3rd quarterback to see action of the game for Georgia Tech with 2.5 minutes remaining.
Yeah, and there's been some decent performances defensively for Pitt. It's swallowed up in all that yardage you talked about Georgia Tech has on the ground. But Jordan Whitehead's come back from suspension and has contributed significantly defensively and on offense. And then Idowu has been a guy that's been sideline to sideline as well.
Henderson near the 20. Now this is where he started that return of 80 yards for a touchdown. Not this time. Lance Austin is not having it. 43-yard punt and a loss of 4 on the return from Henderson. That 80-yard return came in the 2nd quarter for Henderson.
And really gave him a charge. Tied the game at 14.
It did.
And kind of carried him through the first half. They got the field goal at the end of the half, 21-17 at the half. And you think, okay, you're ready to roll. Tech gets the ball to start the half. That both defenses kind of asserted themselves early, and then Pitt just couldn't get anything going offensively.
Brown's pass near the 20.
There's another son of a great from Georgia Tech making a play, Tom. Jordan Swilling makes the catch. There's the numbers we've been talking about. Just staggering.
436 rushing for Georgia Tech is well above their season average, which coming into this game was 372, best in the conference and nation.
Tom, I mentioned Jordan Swilling made that tackle a few moments ago, the freshman. I had the misfortune to play against his father.
I know where this is going.
Yeah, he played for that New Orleans Saint team that I think they got up to me a number of times. But Pat Swilling, MVP, or a Defensive Player of the Year in the NFL, big-time player now.
Completed the 25-yard line to Olesen, but that's going to be short of a first down, just 3 yards on the play. Olesen had a touchdown catch in the first quarter of 28 yards. In fact, Pittsburgh took the lead 7-0 on its opening drive.
Yeah, it was a good drive, too. Really did a nice job of mixing things up, and Benucci made a good throw to Olesen. There's that intermediate over the middle throw.
It's a gutsy catch right there by Aaron Matthews, who had to stretch backwards to make that catch. A.J. Gray made him pay. 14 yards and a first down for Pittsburgh. Inside of a minute to go now. Dave Archer, 35-17. Georgia Tech on the way to a victory against Pittsburgh, something that eluded them in the last 2 years. And don't think Paul Johnson didn't say, you know what, you guys, you've lost on a field goal the last 2 games that you played against Pittsburgh. Last year, David was off the upright and in on the last play of the game. They got back at the Panthers today, and I'm sure Paul Johnson had a strong message for his guys in the locker room. There was a 10-second runoff on the clock for the injury, so Pittsburgh from its own 45. Again, Georgia Tech will improve to 2-1. The Panthers to 1-3. And that pass incomplete on the near sideline in front of the Georgia Tech bench to Aaron Matthews.
Well, give this, as you mentioned, Tom, we concentrate so much on Tech's offense and all the rushing yards and all that kind of stuff. Pretty good job at his defense to win on third down. 1 for 12 on third down for Pitt today. They got another one right here, but you're just not going to win many games when you can't stay on the field offensively.
So just 10 seconds to go. And Georgia Tech and its entire campus can celebrate a win against the Pittsburgh Panthers, as that one appeared to bounce. They're calling it incomplete. Officials coming in incomplete. Now just 3 seconds remaining.
Well, Tom, we're off to NC State next week.
Can't wait. Now,
how about that?
They're trying to pull the upset against Florida State. Syracuse plays LSU tonight.
What do you think?
We could have 2 very hot teams roll into Raleigh next week.
Orange roll in and Tiger Stadium on a Saturday night and find a way to beat the Tigers, the LSU Tigers?
I think it's going to be a very competitive football game, Dave Archer. So back-to-back wins in a span of 3 weeks for Georgia Tech over Jacksonville, 37-10. And then today able to defeat Pittsburgh for Paul Johnson's 179th career victory. The pass was complete. There's a flag behind the play. The clock reads 0-0. Now both sidelines are starting to spill onto the
number
field.
78. The penalties decline. That's the end of the game.
And that will be a decline penalty. Paul Johnson's team wins it 35-17. For highlights and must-see moments for this game and other games, visit theACC.com. Coming up next to the ACC.com, our studio crew, Katie Witham, Tommy Bowden, Stan Norfleet. More analysis of today's ACC action on our new postgame show, Victory Formation, on the ACC.com. Join us for the ACC Blitz, powered by Ram Trucks, next Saturday at noon, followed by the Mellow Mushroom Game of the Week, Syracuse at NC State. You've been watching coverage of Atlantic Coast Conference football on the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports.